1.18 Lesson 1.6 Vocabulary for Speaking Water Resources. Exercise A2. Listen to an extract from a lecture about water resources and check your ideas.
Now, I want you to study this diagram. It shows a water system in a mountainous area. OK, all the water comes from rainfall in the mountains. You can see small streams, here. They all join together into one big river, here. Now, look at the foot of the mountains. There's quite a large dam. It probably holds several billion cubic metres of water. So the dam holds the water for some time and allows it to soak into the ground. What happens next? Well, if you look here, you can see some of the water from the dam goes into an underground aquifer. An aquifer is a kind of underground store of water. People take water from the aquifer through wells. You can see the wells in the diagram just here. OK, let's return to the river. The river then flows past a reservoir. The reservoir is another method of storing water. It's a kind of artificial lake. Some of the water from the river is diverted into the reservoir and from there into irrigation channels for the fields. In other words, farmers use water from the reservoir to irrigate their crops. So there you have the complete system, from rain falling in the mountains to stored water in the dam, aquifer and reservoir.
1.19 Exercise B1. Listen and find an answer to each question about the water system in the diagram above. A.
What is the source of the water in this system?
B.
What is upstream of the town?
C.
Which parts of this water system could leak?
D.
How do people extract water from this system?
E.
Do the people divert any of the water?
F.
What feeds the irrigation channels?
G.
What could lead to flooding in the town?
H.
What could lead to shrinkage of the aquifer?
I.
Does this area need a desalination plant?
J.
Do the people of this area ever run out of water or suffer from drought?
(1.20) Lesson 1.7 Real-time Speaking Water Problems in a Developed Country. Exercise A2. Listen, check your answers and repeat each word. Aquifer. Divert. Extract. Irrigation. Rainwater. Reservoir. Shrinkage. Underground. 1.21 Exercise B2. Listen to the student giving information to a discussion group.
OK, so we're talking about water problems and proposed solutions, right? Who wants to start?
OK then, I will. I looked at the problems in the United States. Apparently...
I didn't realise they had problems with water there.
Well, they do. Big problems, apparently. It seems that the central part of the US is running out of underground water. There's an underground reservoir called the Ogallala Aquifer and...
The what aquifer?
Ogallala. So basically, the Ogallala Aquifer provides half of all the water for the United States.
Just a second. Half of all the water?
Sorry, did I say half? I meant a third.
And do you mean for drinking and irrigation?
No, sorry. I mean just for irrigation. Yes, irrigation.
And, why is the water running out?
Because the water was formed in the reservoir thousands of years ago, but the reservoir is no longer, refilled by rainwater.
What? Thousands of years ago? I thought these underground reservoirs were millions of years old.
Oops, did I say thousands? I meant to say millions.
Oh, right, OK. So how serious is the problem?
It's really serious. Research shows that the reservoir is shrinking fast. The level of the water in the reservoir is falling by 1 metre every year.
Wow.
Yes, so it will dry up within 200 years. Yes, 200.
So, what's the proposed solution?
Well, farmers in the area are suffering shortages, so they stopped, are going to stop, growing crops which require irrigation.
But that's not really a solution, is it? Surely we have to continue to irrigate crops. What about...
Well, not necessarily. Farmers could grow crops which are local to the area. The crops, probably grow without irrigation.
(1.22) Exercise C2. Listen and check your answers.
Basically, the Ogallala Aquifer provides half of all the water for the United States.
Just a second. Half of all the water.
Sorry, did I say half? I meant a third.
And do you mean for drinking and irrigation?
No, sorry, I mean just for irrigation. The water was formed in the reservoir thousands of years ago.
Thousands of years ago. I thought these underground aquifers were millions of years old. So, what's the proposed solution?
Well, the farmers are going to stop growing crops which require irrigation.
I'm not sure that's a very good solution.
Perhaps not, but it solves the problem in the short term.
(1.23) Pronunciation check. Listen to these sentences. Half of all the water. Thousands of years ago. 1.24 Pronunciation check. Listen and repeat some more sentences. Copy the stress and intonation.
10 metres a year. A tropical climate. 4,000 per square kilometre. 30 degrees centigrade. Visual learners or oral learners? Last month or last year?
(1.25) Everyday English. Expressing opinions politely. Persuading. Exercise B1. Listen to the conversation below about the first headline. What did you notice about it?
Did you know that over 20,000 children die every day unnecessarily?
You mean from poverty and hunger and so on?
Yeah, everyone should give money to charities.
The UN should do more.
Ordinary people can't just ignore the problems.
We can't leave it to charities, and we shouldn't just give aid. We should help the people in developing countries to help themselves.
In the long term. But people are dying, including thousands of children. It's terrible. We must do something about that.
(1.26) Exercise B2. Listen to a second version of a conversation. What differences do you notice?
Did you know that over 20,000 children die every day unnecessarily?
You mean from poverty and hunger and so on?
Yes. I think everyone should give money to charities.
I agree. But don't you think the UN should do more?
That's true. But ordinary people can't just ignore the problems. If the UN doesn't do the job, charities have to.
Perhaps. But we can't leave it to charities, can we? And anyway, surely we shouldn't just give aid. Shouldn't we help the people in developing countries to help themselves?
Well, okay, in the long term. But in the meantime, people are dying, including thousands of children. It's terrible. We must do something about that, mustn't we?
(1.27) Lesson 1.8. Learning new speaking skills. Contributing to discussion groups. Pronunciation check. Listen and check your answers. It provides a third of all the water for irrigation in the US. The water was formed millions of years ago. The farmers are going to stop growing crops. They could grow crops that are local to the area. 1.28 Skills check. Listen to some more contributions. Mark the main stressed word in each sentence.
Do you mean for drinking and irrigation?
No, sorry. I mean just for irrigation.
Did you say thousands of years ago?
Sorry, I meant to say millions of years ago.
They're going to stop growing crops.
I'm not sure that's a very good solution.
No, but it solves the problem in the short term.
They could bring water from another area.
But that would be very expensive.
Yeah.
1.29 Skills check. Listen again. Copy the polite intonation.
Do you mean for drinking and irrigation?
No, sorry. I mean just for irrigation.
Did you say thousands of years ago?
Sorry, I meant to say millions of years ago.
They're going to stop growing crops.
I'm not sure that's a very good solution.
No, but it solves the problem in the short term.
They could bring water from another area.
But that would be very expensive.
Yeah.
1.30 Lesson 1.9 Grammar for Speaking. Showing surprise with think and realise. Grammar box 2. Listen to each statement and comment. The aquifers are thousands of years old.
I thought they were millions of years old.
The reservoir provides half of all the water for irrigation.
I thought that it provided a third of all the water.
(1.31) Grammar box 3. Listen to each statement and comment.
The aquifer provides a third of all US irrigation water.
I didn't realise it provided a third.
The level is falling by 1 metre every year.
I didn't realise that it was falling by 1 metre.